What's up, guys, and welcome to the very first episode of the Legacy of Game podcast. We thought we would start this whole thing off with a game that is near and dear to us here at Legacy of Game, Halo. Halo was created by a studio named Bungie, who are responsible for many firsts in the video game industry, such as dedicated multiplayer servers, maps designed for multiplayer, and dual-axis gaming and first-person shooters. So sit back, relax, try not to think about the traffic, and let's log on. Alright, boys, let's talk about some Halo.
Alright, let's talk about the Halo.
Hello.
I came into Halo by playing it over at Parnes' house as a kid, so I'd like to hear how Parnes came into this game.
Halo!
Hello.
Man, jeez. I remember the very first time I played Halo, I was at a family friend's house, mad as hell that I wasn't home hanging out with my friends for that weekend, and he had gotten an Xbox while I was there, with the only game being Halo, and we put that thing in, and from the moment Halo boots up, man, back then it just blows your mind. That theme song kicks on and it's so epic, and it just draws you in, and then you're going and you're on the Pillar of Autumn and you're this Master Chief and you're undefeatable, and you're walking around and walking in the walls because you've never seen this controller scheme before, and you don't understand what's going on with this huge controller, and trying to aim and get used to dual sticks and up and down and left and right and all this crazy stuff, and everything's happening. And like 24 hours later, after everyone's already went to bed and woken up again, and I'm still just glued to this TV playing this game, and they're all thinking I'm crazy. I was unable to put it down. I was addicted. It was awesome, man. There hasn't been probably a single other game to enthrall me as much as Halo did when it came out and I played it for the first time. And it's probably the sole reason I was so adamant about getting an Xbox back in the day and getting that damn game.
Yeah, I think everybody kind of started out with Halo because Halo kind of got everybody kind of wrapped up in it, especially with the multiplayer, being able to play across, systems. That was always beautiful. Being able to have LAN parties. I don't know if people know that now, but you used to have LAN parties where you put your system connected together and play with your friends. That was considered the internet for us.
For all you young kids out there, we used to have to hit multiple TVs and connect our consoles together with a wire.
We used to have actual parties together.
In my day, we used to have to see each other to play together.
Gotta know when I tell you the story about the split screen.
Exactly.
The 4-player split screens.
That's the one thing I was gonna mention too. Is it's kind of a dying mode or functionality, and I can't tell you why, because nowadays it's, hey, you want to play this game together? Yeah, sure. Let me drive home and hop online with you, because we can't just sit here and play it. That couch co-op is it's going extinct, and I think that's really sad and unfortunate, and that's one of the best things about Halo, is sitting down, split screen, and calling your buddy a screen watcher because he knew where you were when he killed you. They always were. Time.
They always lie too. They're like, no, I'm not watching your screen, but you can see behind your head. Is that the truth? Is that what you're saying? You can see behind yourself?
Yeah, no. It really did a lot for person-to-person friendship building. It really did.
Oh, yeah. It was very social. Very, very social.
It also did a lot for helping you hate people you already hated.
Yeah,
It also taught you that you had to actually learn how to play the damn game.
Get
Because if you
sniped by
suck,
Barnes for
you
the 10th time.
suck.
Yeah, get sniped by Barnes for the 10th time, and you start to kind of hate him a little bit.
Okay, well,
But then you find out you can get a shotgun and just blast his head off every time.
My sniping legacy started in Halo, and you got to get close to me with a shotgun, buddy.
Oh, I get there every time, buddy.
Cats are so cute.
Nah.
Mm-hmm.
all right. Well, on that note, I like to jump in and share
I mean,
my
we
little story. So, I remember seeing Halo as an upcoming thing back in the days of Electronic Gaming Monthly. I used to get that back when that magazine was still a deal, back when magazines were still a deal. But I remember seeing pictures for it and it being labeled as, coming out for the Xbox. And at the time, I didn't think anything of that. I was like, Xbox? What the hell is an Xbox? We play on PlayStation and Nintendo. That's what we do. That's what the consoles are. And didn't think anything of it. I kind of wrote it off as just some console that was going to appear and then go away. And then go to Buddy Parnes' house here one day, and he has an Xbox hooked up in his room, and he has Halo. And up until that point, it was a whole career of getting just destroyed, just wrecked by him in Perfect Dark. Like, I'm talking about teams of 3 of us, and with a whole bunch of bots, him just wrecking us. And so I was like, oh, great, another first-person shooter he gets to destroy me at. And picked up the controller. It's a little odd getting used to it first, but, man, just encountering that whole concept of health, the shield that would regenerate over time, kind of gave me a little bit of hope, like just the ability, oh man, I got hit, but being able to duck in and recover that a little bit instead of just walking around with 1% health left, waiting for him to show up and finish you off. It kind of gave me a little bit of hope to be able to fight back against him, and so it kind of became our group's new game to play. Mostly me, him, and our buddy Cortland sitting over at his house all hours of the night, every single night, just play each other in that game. And for once, I was able to score kills on this fucking bastard. But yeah, that's how I got introduced to Halo.
Well, I gotta say, I don't remember starting on Halo 1. I do remember Halo 2 very clearly because I got an Xbox, and before then I was just on PlayStation, 2 at the time. So I was just on PlayStation, and finally got this Xbox, and it came with Halo 2, and I was stoked, and I remember I plugged it in, and I was playing, and I was like, this is awesome. And then we had to leave. It was Christmas. We had to leave. We had to go over to my family's house. And I remember I left it on all day because I didn't have a memory card, and which were available but not necessary. But coming from PlayStation, I was like, oh shit, I can't save it. Oh damn. So I just kind of left it on all day long, and came back and was like, oh yeah, that's right. I can just save this to my console.
Retard.
Another cool thing about Halo that I just want to chime in on is that it was one of the first games. Well, I shouldn't say one of the first games, but one of the multiplayer games that really didn't require you to buy any additional stuff. That was before the DLC. Now DLC's out, it's kind of a new thing, and that seems to be everybody's money maker. But beforehand, it was, map quests. You had to actually play through the story to get the maps. You had to, unlock certain things to get what you wanted. Now it's kind of just handed to you if you give them enough money. So it's a different world in gaming nowadays.
That is true. When did you, what was your first experience with Halo, Tony?
Oh, man. My first experience with Halo was... had to be Halo 1, but I put it this way, I played Halo 1 with our late friend Jason, and another late friend, Joe, rest of both of their souls. But they got me into playing it, and I would get my ass. I'm not gonna lie, I was terrible at Halo. It was very hard to get used to at first. Not gonna lie, it was a learning curve. But then Halo 2 came out and they gave me hope. And that was when I really took off when it came to first-person shooters. I started winning more and more. And then Halo 3 came out and nobody could touch me then. And these guys can attest for that. They've been in a few matches with me. They've seen the record.
I could touch you. I could touch you. I'm just saying.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I didn't know this inexperienced suck at Halo Tony ever existed. All I know is the old gamer tag Nuts Pandora Tony whooping people's ass on Xbox Live with us.
I can never go back to that, unfortunately. They took that away from me.
I was actually a fan of the overseas era of Tony, where he had horrible internet connection, and half the time you'd walk up and see Tony Spartan running against the wall, and we'd all just take turns just run up and smack him in the face, killing him.
Yeah,
and then at the end of the match, you'd still wonder how the hell he almost got as much kills as you.
Yeah, I still get enough kills.
Oh man.
I
remember him getting lucky a few times.
Oh yeah, well I get lucky a few times. You gotta get lucky. you get those off chances that you have something random happen, and then it just kind of falls into perfect perspective for you, and you're like, hey, I'll take that, and you keep it moving. But it's just one of those things where Halo was one of those games where it just brought more people together than it really realized. I'm thinking, because it made people play against each other better or different. Like, you can play Halo so many different ways. Nobody has to play the same to win. I think that's the greatest thing about that game.
Yeah, and real quick, a quick note, because we already kind of touched on the whole LAN party thing. I'd like to throw it out that all of us are from Georgia, and so we have like a bit of a backwoods, thing about all of us, and we actually one time had a LAN party that we had to host at night because it was in a giant field at a buddy's house out in the middle of the nowhere in the boonies.
I remember that.
Yeah, that's how backwoods we were. It was all of us toting these big old freaking TVs and consoles over to what was essentially a farmhouse to play outside.
We made it happen.
It was the most hick-ass LAN party you ever seen in your life.
But it worked, right?
Oh yeah, it worked. God.
All right, so what else do we got to talk about with this?
Well, I mean, we could also talk about different features that the game had that we'd never seen before. I mean, like up until this point, we'd had games like Perfect Dark and GoldenEye were the main two shooters to play on consoles, and we get to Halo, and suddenly we don't have like our entire set of armaments anymore at our disposal. Halo forced us to just use two weapons, and and that made you have to learn what weapon combinations worked for you and for different situations, and it kind of added a level of strategy to it, along with having just those two different types of grenades and such a limited amount of ammo and stuff like that. It really changed the way you played shooters back then.
Yeah, I agree with you, because they had a different spin when the game came out twice. One was when you had to actually get the health to to refill your health bar, and the other one was you just had to sit in the corner and just wait for it to recharge up. Now,
yeah, I remember that in the original Halo. You had your shield and it would recharge, I think, right?
Yep.
And then you also had your health, or was that separate? I can't remember.
You had both.
You had your health separate.
Yep.
And you could pick up those health packs. You'd be struggling to get them, and then later on, they kind of did away with that. You just had your shield, and then you knew if you were about to damn die or not. But
right, and then and then I don't know if anybody else paid attention to it, but this is the beautiful thing about what Bungie does with Halo is they introduce these small tidbits of things of coding that people probably don't even pay attention to, but it actually gets used in other games later on. Like the whole thing about the health bar. You know how they used to show it to you, where you can see how much health you got, you can see how much shield you got. Where later on in the gaming series, in that trilogy, they actually got to the point where they didn't even show you your bar. The only way you knew that you were hurt was if your screen started to go, red or start to blink or flash.
And you see that in almost every game today.
Yeah, exactly. So when I say, Halo changed a lot of stuff about gaming, they changed a lot of stuff about gaming that people play today.
The really enjoyable thing, too, when it comes to the multiplayer, it was so balanced. Like, there wasn't just one spot you could go to get the sniper rifle and you were going to reign supreme. There was always, like, the blue side, the red side. They had these weapons here and these weapons here. There was always a counter. If somebody was sniping, you could go find the other sniper rifle and snipe them back, Or if you were just a mean asshole, you could go sneak to their base and take that other sniper rifle so they didn't have an option to fight you back. It was balanced, and there was dualities, and there was only certain weapons like the rocket launcher and was always in like the middle of the map that you would fight over and actually have one way or another.
I actually remember a way to strike back and get sniper parns, and that way was something me and old Burnsy here like to call Halo cops. And because back then the pistols were a big deal, so somebody was sniping you. That was your option, man. You grab that pistol, you zoom in, you start pinging parns from as far away as you can. You keep moving, you keep hitting him.
Yeah, because you couldn't zoom in whenever you were getting hit.
Well, that's when I had to get good at that there no scope. You know what I'm saying?
360 no scope.
I was actually pretty upset when they took the pistols out. And then they finally brought them back, and it was just like they were just as strong as they were when they first were.
I don't remember them ever taking the pistols out.
They did. Remember, they had the pistols in the first one.
Yeah.
Where you can zoom in on the pistol.
Yep.
But when they brought out the second one, they didn't bring the pistols.
Oh.
And then
they had a pistol, but it wasn't a beast like it was in Halo 1.
Yeah, it wasn't like, because you couldn't zoom in on that one. It was just kind of like
but in a certain aspect, they needed to make it like that, because if you think back, every time, because I don't know about y'all, we go back and we always end up somehow back on Halo, the original, playing, whooping each other's ass, having an old school party, and after about 5-10 minutes, it always turns into everybody immediately switching to their pistols, and it's just a headshot game at that point. You're playing like SWAT on Halo 1, So, like, them taking that pistol out let, everything else shine, and made sure that the games didn't just revolve around, everybody pull out pistol and go at it, because it's the best gun in the game, so.
But you gotta admit, SWAT on Halo 3 was fun.
Oh, that was fun. Yeah, that was fun as shit.
You're speaking my language right here.
Headshots.
Oh, that was beautiful. That was probably one of the best modes.
Yeah, DMR is the best weapon in the game. You can't tell me anything different.
Halo 3 is probably my favorite Halo out of the series, I'd have to say. For multiplayer.
I'm a fan of Reach.
I like Reach. I like Reach a lot. I like the story. I like the campaign. I do like the multiplayer, but Halo 3, I don't know what it is about it. It's just the one that sticks out more in my mind.
That one
I got one word for you. That'll answer all of that. You ready? It's called Forge.
Oh man. Well, that's
user-made maps.
That's another thing about Halo, is it was one of the few games that allowed you to customize your experience really without any kind of like Game Shark or anything.
Yeah.
You could choose skulls if you want to make it harder for yourself, or if you just want to, whenever you get a headshot, a little birthday party sound happens, which is exactly what I do
so much fun.
every time. But and then Forge happened, where you essentially became the artist. You were forging your own awesome levels, and the community could play.
Yeah,
it was really cool. It was
awesome.
It allowed you to become more creative while also being a savage badass, such as Tony.
I try. But it was awesome. It was an awesome thing. It's one of those things. It's just you gotta experience it to understand the beauty of it. Like you actually have to play through the series to understand what we're saying, because it's just you watch it grow and get better and better and better until until
You hear that, Fortnite? You weren't the first game to pull out building shit.
Yeah, for real, you weren't. Unfortunately.
Well, it was also like, so Halo, the original Halo was back before, achievements and trophies and awards and stuff. But for some reason, you couldn't even explain. You'd spend hours trying to beat this game on legendary difficulty just so you could say that you could. It was bragging rights, like I beat every Halo game on legendary difficulty at some point in time or another, because you had to. There wasn't an option. You
had to. That was one of those things.
It was hard as shit unless you got a friend to play co-op with you, and then if you get to a tough part, you say, "Hey, come here and bash your skull in," so you respawn with full health and ammo.
The great thing about Halo is Halo made people, just like you just said, Parnes. Halo made people have to go and recruit people to help them play. You just couldn't go in there and one man ramble it. You had to get some help. You had to call friends. You had to get whoever was playing at the time and do their game. But
I could one man ramble it, but that's because I'm like really good at the game.
Yeah.
Not just good.
No, but not on Legendary is a beast, man. And like the whole campaign, a lot of shooters, it's kind of boring for shooters to have a campaign. Typically, let's not all lie, you get it for the multiplayer.
Right.
But with Halo, the campaign was so epic. The music was always so epic. The scenes, the scenery, the levels, the story, it all just kept you enthralled, and it was just one complete package.
Yeah,
and it was fun not once, but the replay value was through the roof. You can't tell how many times I've played through that campaign over and over and over. It was just an all-around good game, man.
You got what your money deserved is what really came from that, and that's what a lot of fans felt when it came to Bungie, and that's why Microsoft Xbox did so well, was because they, if you had a developer like that that's willing to put that much effort into a game for one console, you got loyal fans forever type deal, and that's what they wanted, and that's what they got. So it's just one of those things.
Hey, sorry about that brief absence right there. My kid came in here because one of his toys broke.
That's really important. He was
quite upset.
It's all right.
Well, dear God, did you fix it?
I did.
My God. Oh, thank God. I was so scared for him.
That's why you're the hero we love, sir.
The hero he needs.
You weren't the hero we needed.
You're the Master Chief of him.
You need me. You lie.
So he is your Cortana.
Speaking of Cortana, how about was she not like everybody's first crush ever? Because
yeah.
No,
everybody wanted more pictures of her.
Her and Lara Croft, man, that was Those were my.
My first video game crush was Renoa Hartilli from Final Fantasy VIII.
Oh yeah.
Oh nice, yeah.
Those were good. But yeah, I remember. Did you have to, in the first one, I think, did you have to find the skulls? Like,
yeah,
and some of them were like impossible alone, right?
To unlock them, you had to find them, and
That's
they
right.
were in the most
Crazy
random,
fucking places,
crazy bullshit places.
But hold on now, you got to admit, that was the coolest thing about that, was that you had to do these ridiculous situations to get to these places. But when you got it, it was like really having an achievement. Yeah. That's like a trophy on your wall. Hey, look what I did. I did this that not many people can do.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and if you had one and a friend came over, it was like, where'd you get that? Nah, man, find it yourself, bitch.
No, you got to go look this way.
Like, that was another cool thing about it is, because it was a reward for unprompted exploration. Like in later Halo games, you knew that the skulls were there. The game made a point of like letting you know the skulls were there, whether it be in the form of achievements or a reward the game would let you know you would get in game for finding it. And most other
Right.
games, they have like things that will reward you for exploration, but the game tells you, hey, go find this to get this, go find that, or there's this many of this specific type of hidden item hidden throughout this game. Halo didn't tell you about any of that. It was just something that was there to reward inquisitive, curious players. Players that were just naturally that way. It was there to reward them.
Yeah, it pushed people to actually explore the world instead of just running through like you would on a already preset track game. A game where you can't really deviate too far from anything. You just got to stay on that track and only go that track. Halo tried to change that where it was more open world. You can find your own way around. The objective is the same, but it's not going to just hand it to you and say, okay, well, here's the direction you need to go. It's here's the objective. How do you solve it? How do you get it done? And that was beautiful. I think that's a beautiful thing.
Now, we talked about all of that. Now, do we want to talk about how we all felt the first time we saw the trailer for Halo 2?
Yeah. Do you guys want to do it?
I don't think you can adequately describe the level of excitement I had for every Halo trilogy.
Yeah,
it was long ago now because we're old fucks, or we're in our 30s, which to us is old, even though we're not quite old yet. But it's back in the times when midnight releases were still a thing. And all the standing in line at GameStop at 11 o'clock for an hour to get the game when it came out and all that.
Yeah,
and it was just part of the experience, and it was awesome.
I kind of want to say Halo 2 helped midnight releases become a thing too. Because you remember going to Walmart for Halo 2 and how packed it was? Now everyone was pretty much fighting for their copy of it as the boxes were opened.
I do remember that,
yeah. I'll put it this way. When Halo 2 came out, when Halo 3 came out, it was as if, Black Friday had just opened up again. There was people wrapped around the building waiting for this game. And this is another thing that Halo started. They started this whole pre-order shit. People don't remember that. We never had the pre-order games before then, but now you have the pre-order games, and it's just one of those things where you never had the people anticipating this game to be so good to pay you before you get it, but now it's like, yeah, I expect you to do that.
Now it's standard practice, but beyond the pre-order thing, Halo 3 on its own pretty much announced to the world how big gaming was, and the gaming was here to stay. I'm pretty sure Justin knows the facts on that. I know what he's told me, which is the only reason I know to mention it, but I'll let him talk about it.
Halo 3 kind of like represented a turning point in the gaming industry in that on day one of its release, it grows such a high amount that nothing else, no other item in any form of entertainment media have managed to gross that much money in a single day. I mean, like it outdid Harry Potter, the Spider-Man movies, the X-Men movies. Halo 3, it came along, and at the time of its release, it was the #1 selling thing on it for day one sales ever, and it got a lot of big big money investors interested in video games, which is kind of why we saw games skyrocket after that, why we started seeing more big money games, more AAA titles, more things like that. It's kind of also the reason why a lot of developers started playing it safe, so it's a double-edged sword, but it did make the world take gaming seriously, and that's a good thing in my opinion.
Yeah, because right now you got an E-League that's massive now. I mean, everybody knows about E-League now, but nobody really cared about a gaming tournament type deals back in the day.
That was back when MLG was not just
MLG,
something you throw in front of your fucking gamer tag.
Yeah, it was serious back then, though. People were serious back then, but now it's more legit because it's more worldwide accepted. A lot more people are seeing a lot more business and entrepreneurship coming out of it, plus a lot of money and revenue that can be made from it. So it's really grown bigger than what it used to be, but it all came from the hype that Halo brought as far as bringing people into the gaming community and getting them into playing console games.
Speaking of online stuff and all that, like outside of like games like Diablo 2 on the PC, Halo was actually the first series where I got really familiar and really interested in everybody else's screen names. Everybody, like the names everybody uses, and I remember like me and Parnes, we had like certain names that we used for our old Spartans back on Halo 1 and Halo 2. Even like when Xbox Live first launched, we still kind of stayed true to those names. And I remember how terrible they were. Like for instance, mine was Devious 1, spelled DVS1. That's how bad it was. Parnes was something like
I don't know why you got to bring this up, man. We ain't got to talk about old names.
Yes.
You know, they're in the past.
Come on, Parnes, what was yours?
What was yours? I'm trying to remember what that could have been.
Oh
Barnes?
man, Death Master.
Death Master.
Mine was Joe Daddy.
I am the master of death.
So gay.
And I remember back before the
But we were
no.
I had a
'cause back
skull
then-
emblem.
Back then, I didn't really have a gamer name per se because I didn't pick anything. But I did pick one later on. Well, no, I didn't pick that one. That one was actually gifted to me by Xbox. But the name that I used to have was called Joe Daddy. And the reason, no, there's a funny story behind that. The reason why I did that is because I used to play a game called Unreal Tournament. I don't know if you guys ever played that before.
Oh man. Oh yes.
Yeah. So you know about the whole when you kill somebody, it says your name and then something crazy and then the gamer name.
Oh yeah.
Well, I used to put that so on purpose so that it would say Joe Daddy did such and such, just for funny references.
Blank was killed by Joe Daddy.
Yeah, exactly. It was like you just got shell shocked by your Joe Daddy. It was like,
I remember something similar to that. It was one of the Area 51 games, and B and Parnes made up ridiculous names for that. Like one of them was That Fucker was the name of one of our screen names, and so it would say things like, "You incinerated that fucker. That fucker obliterated you."
I had completely
So creative.
forgot about that shit, but I remember it now.
I think everybody probably did that at one point or another. And that was also back when gamer tags were way more creative.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Well, you can't get too creative nowadays because you'll
No.
offend somebody. So.
yeah, everybody's too damn soft and sensitive, so you can't really use much of anything.
Shame.
Yeah. I mean, for hell, they took my name because they said it was insensitive.
Wow.
How? How
Well,
is
I mean-
Nuts Pandora insensitive?
You don't want to assume Pandora's, gender.
Apparently so. Maybe I was talking about a walnut. Are we going to be gentrifying walnuts now?
I don't know. You can put that to the listeners. If you could tell poor old Tony here why his name was insensitive, please enlighten him.
Yes,
Maybe
please.
somebody will put you on.
Yeah, let me know.
Let you know the truth.
Yeah, highlight me. Let me know.
Well, that could be
Hashtag
that could
free
actually be
nuts
a fun
Pandora.
topic we could go
Free
over right
Nuts
now.
Pandora.
We could actually go over how we got our current gamer tags.
Oh, go ahead, buddy.
Tony, you
hit it.
sound
man, you
excited. Go for it, buddy.
No, I want to hit Justin.
Nah, go for it.
All right. Think of us number 1 through 10.
What?
What?
Tony.
Think of it number 1 through 10.
Are you trying to decide who goes first about talking about their gamer tags? Really?
What are you talking about? I just
7. 7.
I'm
I'll
playing
go
Price
along
is
with
Right.
7.
okay.
All right.
All right.
5.
You bitch.
Damn, Barnes, right on top. You got it. There you go.
So I guess I'm going first. All right. So
That was so gay.
that was really fucking stupid. I don't know.
This is why we love each other.
Yeah. So, all right, my gamer tag is Rusty Shackelford, and it's really from. It's just I had the same gamer tag for years and years and years, and it wasn't funny or anything. It was kind of too serious, and I decided to go for something else. So I went for. I'm sure a lot of listeners, recognized it immediately. All of you. Is from King of the Hill, and if I'm sure you guys have seen it. When anyone talks to Dale from King of the Hill, he never gives them his government name. He always gives them Rusty Shackelford, and I always thought that was fucking hilarious. So I just kind of took that, and so far, not too many people have mentioned it. But yep, that's just me pulling shit out of somebody else's ass, and not mine. So,
and people.
Thank you, Mike Judge.
For such a random name, I've seen people mistakenly ask you if your gamer tags from like multiple other things that I've never heard of.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, "Is your gamer tag from this? Is it from this? Is it from this band?" And I'm like, "What are they talking about?"
They're fucking stupid. They don't know. But yeah. So Mike Judge is actually the reason why I have that.
That's cool, man, because my gamer tag was actually, like I said, was gifted to me by Xbox. I didn't really pick the name, because the name I originally picked, it was already taken. So after picking through, 20 of my own ideas of what name I wanted to pick, I finally just gave Xbox and said, hey, all right, well, tell me which one is available. And this odd name was what they gave me, called Nuts Pandora. And for some weird freaking reason, it sticks. I don't know. I just felt like...
So wait a minute. You're telling me
What?
that Xbox Live randomly generated for you a name
Yes.
that Xbox Live later said was unacceptable?
Took it away.
Yes, that is true.
Whoa. That's
I
tragic.
never got to pick that name, but Xbox picked it, and now they've said, you know what, I think we were a little bit too insensitive, we're going to take it back.
That is some funny shit
Microsoft
right there.
giveth.
I'm going to tell you right now.
Microsoft taking it away.
But yeah,
I didn't know that
my
was a
story and
randomly
my name.
generated name.
Yeah, it was fully generated. They wouldn't let me take my own name, so I was like, alright, well, what you got? And that's what they gave me.
Well, our buddy Joe did that, and Joe ended up with the awesomest name, Alkaline Thunder, which is really damn cool, and that's randomly generated. Sometimes Xbox has its moments,
Yeah, that was cool. That's a cool name. I wish I would really have had a chance to end up with that. But no, I got Nuts Pandora. So you know what I did? I put the fear of Nuts Pandora in everybody I played. That's why I made that name so popular.
You had a boy named Sue kind of thing going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Prove yourself.
I'm gonna show you what I can do.
Well, my gamer tag now is pretty simple. I realize how ridiculously stupid Deathmaster was, and I play guitar, and my favorite thing to play is kind of blues and blues scales and soloing. So the pentatonic scale is the main bluesy, lick scale that I play, and that for blues soloing. So I took pentatonic, and then I just put ninja in front of it, and lo and behold, pentatonic ninja. And it's pretty cool, because online some people that are into music will actually go, oh shit, you play music, pentatonic, that's cool, and they get the reference. But I just came up with it one day, and it stuck, and it's been my name ever since.
Well, not nearly as knowledgeable about music as Parnes, but mine came from music as well. You see, back in the day, my original name before I, settled into the one that became my own, the name I used was Dark Scepter, and we had two friends named Jonathan and Brian that liked to they like to poke fun a lot, and every time we played together, they would always pronounce my name as Dark Spectre, and they'd do it in this stupid hick accent, Dark Spectre over there, just mispronouncing the hell out of it, and it irritated me, so I decided I didn't want to change it, and the games that we all played together were mostly shooters, and I was almost always our close quarters guy, shotguns and SMGs, and there was a song lyric from a band that I really liked that said a 12-gauge cross kisses the forehead, a savior in a shell, and I was like, savior in a shell, that's it, that's my name, I love it, that's mine, and that's how I came to it. I got shamed out of my old one. And day one of those fuckers complimented me on that name, I actually felt good. It was like a Stockholm Syndrome type thing. I was like, yeah, you bet you fucking like it.
I thought it was a great name. I was like, that's pretty cool.
I like how everybody has these kind of very in-depth stories, and mine's like, I done stole it.
You remember also going back, Halo, you got the names and introduced all that, but then they introduced the thing where you had your tag, and it was the little 3 letters or symbols that would come up above your name so your teammates knew who you were on the map, and then you were like, oh man, what do I want my tag to be? And you go over that forever and ever.
And then we finally made our little gamer tag team clan. And boys and girls, when I say that day, the Halo community would be forever changed. I meant it. Online would never have been the same again.
Stomping fools.
If you ever saw our initials against your team, there's a good chance you were probably going to lose.
Yeah, we were, just for the listeners' sake of knowing and backstory, we're in college, we all played Halo together, and it was just our little thing. We were Team Badass, TBA, this and that, but, lo and behold, there's a professional TBA, so we can't really use that anymore, but it was fun back in the day, just screaming Team Badass and killing random people online that had no clue, so it was a good time.
You said there's a professional team.
I bet we inspired them.
There's a professional team that uses that, but the question is, are they as good as us? Are they really?
No. And you know what? If they are hearing this podcast right now, I challenge them. Our Team Badass versus their Team Badass for the name of Team
Tony.
Badass.
We all got to get on.
I don't know that'll go very well.
I was about to say, put down the joint, man.
No, it'll go great.
We're good, but we ain't pro.
We have jobs.
Fuck that.
And we play games. Their job is games.
We're the best. Around.
Fuck that. Y'all, are y'all enjoying your job? Are you enjoying your job? Do you get a kick out of life?
My job's okay.
I'm not talking about you, Justin. You're well off.
This isn't about you.
I like my job.
No comment.
Burns, you better fucking like your job.
All right,
how much
fine.
debt you racked up to get it.
Shut up. God damn. All right, we're going to keep finances out of this because this ain't about people's lives.
This is about our lives. Gaming is our lives. That's what we do.
Gaming is our lives. You're right. You're actually right. You're absolutely right. But we want to make sure that people understand that, what we did back in the day was we did make some beautiful memories, especially on the multiplayer, and it's just one of those things where you look back and you say, man, we used to do that. We used to beat the crap out of people online like it was nothing. To now, most of these games are pretty easy to get used to. And it's not too much of a learning curve. They all seem fairly the same. And I can't see people doing the same thing. I don't see them doing the same thing.
In a world of video games where it's repeated content and repeated ideas and repeated schemes. It's just nice to be able to play Halo, which was a truly original game, and it's just fun every time. It never gets old.
Yeah, because you're right, because it's like, it's a game that's different. It's just a whole different animal from the rest of the shooters. And that's what made it unique. That's what made it, eye candy that you can draw back to no matter how many times in the future you look. It could be 20 years from now, somebody will still want to play Halo 3 or even Halo Reach for one matter, because they're that good. It's something about the stories, the character development, the guns, the explosions, all that wrapped in one. It's almost like playing through a movie, an action movie, and you're the star.
You know what else made the multiplayer so fun? And we haven't talked about this yet, and I don't know why, but that damn announcer that was always there telling how you killed somebody or that you got a killing spree. Yeah, man.
That's the most satisfying.
That was all worth it. And the badges, you could go back and look at all the different things you accomplished in the game and earn badges you'd never even seen before. That was the shit, man.
The most satisfying. The most.
The one our friend Corey got the most was Betrayal.
Dude, speaking of all that, which game wasn't it Halo 3 that brought us the Forge, wasn't it?
Yes, sir, that is it.
Pissing Burns off so bad because he would be in Forge, and I would join his game, and I would just wreck all his shit. I love you, Burns.
Fuck with me.
Just okay, buddy.
In my happy place.
If you think about it, that was such a horrible feature. If he didn't invite you, why? Why could you join?
It's true.
You could just wreak havoc on his world.
It would be so convenient for him to not be able to just join, but didn't work that way. Thanks for that.
Like I remember, like building up like big old walls and just like using to slam into all the things you were building. It's fun. It was fun. I love you, and
You've always been great at
it might be a fond
fucking
memory
shit up.
for me, but I will say I'm sorry, I was such a dick.
No, you're not. Don't lie,
not
you
at all.
fucker.
Bullshitter. Still a dick.
It's alright, guys. You know the one thing that I must say that I don't even think Bungie knew would come out of making Halo is when they did bring out Forge. People were making all these different maps and these different gameplays. The one that stuck and became an actual game feature in a future game was Rift Ball.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
That became an actual feature later on in the game, but it started off as a Forge map made by the community.
That's one thing about the community, man. You never know what the fans are gonna create. It's always
beautiful,
crazy.
I've seen some really good community maps, and it was actually one of the first games that I can remember, and I'm sure it's probably not, but actually being able to be like scroll through a menu of community-made games and just play whichever one looks good to you, and that being able to share that kind of stuff was the first time I've ever encountered it.
I actually have a story involving Burns, involving one of those community maps. It was me and Burns, and we joined in on this game with these two guys in this map they had made for a game of Capture the Flag, and I guess they thought they were going to get one over on us because it was like their own custom-made map with these two gigantic-ass towers to have to climb and capture the flag in. But what they didn't know is Burns is the best wheelman in the business. And I'm a close quarters guy, and all those towers they made, they were all close quarters. So I moved to their tower, taking them out left and right. They tried to stop me, but they couldn't. I just wrecked them. And I got to the top, and I grabbed that flag, and right at that same time, Burns was coming up. And what was the name of the little helicopter things you could fly? What was it? What were they called? Yep, a Hornet.
Hornets?
Yep, and Burns comes flying up there on the Hornet, but there was not enough room for him to land, so he got like right under where I could jump off. I jumped off onto his Hornet, and just balancing on the top of his Hornet, he flew me back to our base, and we're going to plant our flag at the top of the tower.
If only we could record game clips, then we could catch so much awesome stuff.
That would have been awesome. Oh, I mean, you could. You could record your games, but I think you only had the choice to record the entire game. I don't remember.
I think Halo reaches where they really made that.
Yeah, I gotta admit it.
Where the game recording became like a more in-depth thing.
You know, that's another thing that's pretty cool that Halo started was the whole game recording thing. Now both systems do game recording
because Halo made Machinima a big deal.
Isn't that interesting?
With Red versus Blue,
exactly. Exactly, which also fed money.
Well, you got to credit the dudes that made Red versus Blue, but yeah, they did use Halo to do it.
Yeah.
But they could have. You got to think they could have used another game, and because of the recording aspect.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, it had to be Halo.
Well, that's another thing about Halo. It's not like you just could record a game and then play it back. You could record a game, but you could pause, move the camera, and go fly around the map in that recorded game. And get aspect. When have you ever been able to do that before? Halo, and even now, I can record a game clip, but I can't float around freeform in the map and look at different angles, and it's crazy.
Exactly, and that's why Halo changed the game for everybody, everybody. If Halo didn't come out, the gaming industry probably would have died a couple years ago.
This is
probably a decade back or two.
I don't know that the gaming industry would have died, but Xbox would not be what it is.
No. What I'm saying, as far as console games would have died. Honestly, console games would have died because the stuff that's popular with PlayStation is only popular in like Asian and European countries. It wouldn't have made it successful over here. And the fact that Xbox was, a Microsoft, which is an American-owned company, they made their own game system, but it wasn't. You can't really sell to your own people and think that you're going to make, billions and billions of dollars. The real industry is out there where everybody else is. That's how Nintendo stay alive. Everybody likes Nintendo, from Asia to America. They all like Nintendo. The only thing is Xbox couldn't really sell that well in the Asian countries because everybody liked PlayStation already. So it was either PlayStation or Nintendo. They really didn't care for Xbox. And that's what really kept Xbox from like boosting out. And when Halo came out, it really gave them that boost that they needed to fight on the same plane as everybody else. So, Halo really did change the gaming community for everybody in a whole.
Okay, real quick, I'm sorry to backtrack us, but we, something I really wanted to bring up since we already talked about, we just talked about Machinimas and Red versus Blue and all of that. This is another testament to how awesome Bungie is when Red versus Blue came out and it became, the big deal that it was, Bungie took a look at it, and they, at Red versus Blue and the Machinima and all that, and they decided they liked it so much and that it was good marketing for, the Halo series that they actually gave, the guys making Red versus Blue permission to make money off of it. They gave them the permission to monetize it and make money off of their product. And I just think that's a really cool thing that Bungie did for the community.
No, that's super awesome because if you think about it, what company today they'd be like, and they'd sue them and they'd shut them down, and that's all you hear about. You don't hear about them saying, man, that's really cool what you did and helping people out. They just shut it down, stop using our rights, and that'd be the end of it today.
Well, I mean, Bungie as a company has been pretty supportive of, small independent studios. I mean, they let them use their platform to develop games, and they've invested a lot of money in small studios. So, I mean, it makes sense.
Probably comes from them starting by one man in his garage.
That would be That'd be Alex Seropian. He was just one guy. He started Bungie in his garage, and he made it a Pong clone called Gnop, which he actually releases freeware for Mac computers just to get Bungie's name out there and get some attention, and it really did a lot of good for the company. But on another note about Bungie and their background and Halo and its background, did you guys know that Halo actually didn't start out as a first-person shooter? It was originally going to be a real-time strategy game, kind of like Command and Conquer, and it was and that was whenever they were basically Mac exclusive creators, and they got a call from Microsoft, offering them the chance to be the first people to work with their new console, the Xbox, and Bungie couldn't help themselves. They couldn't resist. They said, we'll be the first one to do it. And, they'd always been groundbreakers in the industry, so they jumped at that chance, and Halo was transformed from RTS and into the first-person shooter it is today. Even Master Chief's voice got changed. Like, originally it was a very robotic-sounding voice, and they took and gave it a more human-sounding voice whenever they made the jump to the Xbox.
When they first was talking about Halo, they were talking about a strategy-based game, kind of sort of similar to Command and Conquer. That's why you see the that Halo game that came out. What's that game? Halo Wars. Yeah. That was the game that actually what they were trying to bring out, and they just scrapped the deal. I mean, they just scrapped the whole idea because they wanted to go for a more first-person shooter. Because Activision was coming out with a first-person shooter as well called Call of Duty. So they wanted something that would basically rival with their hype, because Call of Duty could be played on PlayStation, but on Xbox only Halo could be played. What would draw more attention, a strategy-based game or a first-person fast-paced shooter multiplayer?
Yep, first-person shooter every day.
Exactly. So they went that route. That's why that got scrapped. But they later brought it out as Halo Wars, and it did fine as far as the strategy game goes. But it did enough. I mean, it did enough to get a second one. So enough people liked it.
It's a good game, and it had really good cinematics. As a matter of fact,
Yeah.
It's just hard to play a game like that on Xbox because no matter how good you make it and how good the interface is and how things work, you're still playing basically a click and drag game on a controller, and it's just not,
it's very disadvantaged when it comes to PC playing.
That's an issue with a lot of PC ports over to Xbox, which is happening a lot now.
Right.
But that's a whole nother episode that we can totally go through. But.
Yeah. All right, so here we go. 1, 2, 3, summary. Go.
Okay, I guess I'll go first, huh? Sorry, nobody was thought. I was like, okay.
Started that one.
All, I'd definitely say Halo is a very important game to me. It was what brought me to the Xbox console. It's which led me to many of my favorite games over the years, from Morrowind and the everything in the Elder Scrolls series to games like Fable and Splinter Cell, which is another game I'd love to talk about someday. But I think we have a lot to thank Halo for.
We can talk about some Splinter Cell, son.
I definitely would say that nothing we have today would be the same without Bungie and Halo, and just like to thank all those guys for giving us such a wonderful game to play.
I got to bring up one more thing that we didn't, and I know that we're kind of summarizing and working towards a close here, but you told me an interesting fact that I really, really enjoy about gamers nowadays having a hard time with Halo 2, and I'd love for you to go over that before we end the episode.
Whenever Halo 2 was made playable on the Xbox One, they had a bunch of new kind of flood of new players coming to Halo 2's online game for the first time, and most of them are coming off of games like Halo 4 and Halo 5 and the Call of Duty franchise, and they played their hand at trying out Halo 2 for their first time, and they didn't do so well. They were actually quite upset. They said the game was too hard, it was too difficult, and they just couldn't quite hang in the Halo 2 realm with all the Halo veterans out there. So just
Get
so
wrecked,
if you've been
children.
here from the ground floor,
Damn
pat
right,
yourself
kids.
on the back. You're good at a game that most people today are not.
You know, that's why I'm not good at the new games like Fortnite. It's not that I'm not good. It's just that they're so easy. I just can't. You know, it's just I don't know. It's weird.
Whatever helps you sleep at night.
That sounds like an excuse, buddy.
Hey, shut your mouth.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I play Fortnite, but I'm not gonna claim I'm the best. And when it comes to that building shit, you be better off just shooting me, because I'm not gonna build shit. I'm just gonna shoot you. I'm not gonna waste my time with building no little ass house just so you can shoot it
Ladies
down.
and gentlemen.
No, I'm gonna just shoot the shit out you.
I feel like we're the high schoolers. We're the high schoolers on the bus on the way home, but like instead of wanting to fight, we're like, meet me in Halo 2.
Yeah,
meet me in Halo 2.
One, one,
What
bitch.
the big one we say was to settle this on midship. Yeah.
I'll see you in Blood Gulch.
Oh, for real. Take it outside. Let's go. First one to the sword.
Oh, that sword.
Well, I mean, all in all, Halo, great game, great series, did a lot for gaming.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely influenced each and every one of us, influenced each and every game we've probably played since it came out.
Mm-hmm.
Much love for Bungie and all
Much
the wonderful
appreciated.
memories that they've given us. And, you know, it's challenging for a new company like 343 to take it over, but at least they rose to the challenge, and they're still making Halo games. It could have died, you know, but it didn't, and it's still around. So I look forward to the new Halo. And that about
Steven,
sums up our
would you
episode.
say that we've... Would you
So,
say
thank you for tuning in,
finished the
guys.
fight?
I would say that we have finished
I
this
see what
fight.
you did there.
Ding, ding.
Ding.
It's funny because it's a reference.
Oh,
They said
yeah.
that in the game.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for logging on.
We would, yes. Thank you, all listeners, all you guys. We appreciate anybody listening to our podcast. We welcome any feedback, any suggestions, any topics you want to hear us talk about or cover or bullshit on. Feel free to drop us a line and let us know. We have legacyofgamepodcast@gmail.com. Email us. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know your suggestions. And we will do our best to get back to anybody that takes the time to send us a message.
For real.
Also, feel free to add us on whatever various platforms that we play on, because we'll gladly back up these claims and how awesome we are.
Yeah.
Whether or
And,
not we prove it or not,
Absolutely,
I don't know. But
yeah.
Love you guys.
Love you guys.
I love you.
Peace out.